What's up, everyone? We're so excited to be doing this morning session today with the folks at EDF, otherwise known as Environmental Defense Fund, as well as the team at LinkedIn. We are going to be doing an awesome session talking about the business case for green jobs, because especially right now with so many rollbacks and so much green hushing, it's important that we vocalize why it's so important that green jobs are still on the map, why it just makes business sense, and why this means that when it comes to the future of the green economy, these jobs are going to continue to thrive, and pathways for them as well are going to continue to thrive. So I'm so excited to have our wonderful panelists introduce themselves. So I'd love if you can both take a moment to talk a little bit more about your work, as well as why you're passionate about what you do.
My name is Nidhi Kaul. I work at LinkedIn as a green economy lead. Basically what that means, because I think that can mean a lot of things to different people. Me, I inspect product, platform, and partnerships. So for products specifically, that means I work on our green jobs filters that kind of Kristy alluded to, that are growing exponentially. I also work on our learning course catalog, so to make sure that we have green learning content growing as well. So I work on our platform, which means I work with top lifted voices such as Kristy and other people who work across the green economy to help amplify their voices and collaborate, basically, to get the word out there to folks like you all who are interested in green jobs, who are working green jobs perhaps, and just figuring out ways to collaborate. And then finally, I also work with our customers and our nonprofits to basically help workforce development further across the world. Why I'm passionate about sustainability? Well, there's a few reasons why. One of them being, we all live here. We all would like to live here, probably for the foreseeable future. So that's probably the biggest one. I would say I studied environmental economics in school for my undergrad, and it just made business sense to me then, and it makes business sense to me now. I regrettably have extended family that are climate change deniers, and the only way that I can get to them is by talking about the economics behind why it's a problem and why we can be the solutions, right? So that's why it's.
Wow, I love that. And we have so much to talk about after this to continue collaborating on. My name is Yash Pavlik. I'm the Senior Director of Core at Environmental Defense Fund and host of the Degrees podcast. And Environmental Defense Fund, for those who don't know, is a global NGO that's focused on climate solutions, leveraging science, economics, business, and policy. And I work on Climate Core team and Climate Core, and I have a couple of team members here. If you're a team member, please raise your hand, come talk to us. It's a summer fellowship program that trains and embeds graduate students in companies, cities, and organizations in the top 3 emitting countries in the world. So that's the US, China, and India, all to drive sustainability progress within those operations. It's a great program to be part of, a great network to be part of, and one of the things I'm so passionate about are the stories of unlock that I hear on almost a daily basis from members of our network who are here today, and also our fellows. And it's when those stories are when fellows to make the case to their organization that sustainability is not only possible, but is possible and scalable, and you can take advantage of it right now. Environmental Defense Fund really believes that investing in people and in workers to frame their skills as sustainability and business skills is real unlock to the climate movement, and I'm so excited to be part of it. And then the other thing I'm super excited about right now and inspired by is the Degrees podcast. So we've been recording episodes since 2020, all aimed to inspire people like you to join the movement and find themselves and use their skills in this movement. Have a new season coming out. Our trailer is on today. I'll have big episodes coming out weekly. And this season is all focused on connection as a climate solution. By the way, Kristy has been the guest on the Degrees podcast in the past. And Nidhi is going to be in this season. Her episode drops next Wednesday. So really encourage people to be listeners and subscribers to that, but also to just take it all in and be inspired and feel supported by the community around you. And that's giving me a lot of energy.
I think that the Degrees podcast is one of my favorite climate podcasts out there. So shout out to the Degrees podcast. Well, know, the topic of this talk is the business case for green jobs. So let's just dive right in. What do you all view as the business case for green jobs? What are some trends that you guys are seeing on, you know, why, despite everything we're seeing in the news and the doom and gloom, you know, the trend is still happening?
Yeah, I can start this unless you want to. So, a couple of trends I'm super excited about. One of them is that companies that are investing in climate solutions, and that is a large spectrum, it could be investing in energy management or in more sustainable products, they are 6 times more likely to see revenue growth than their peers. So, to me, that's good for the planet, it's good for business, and it makes a direct tie between climate jobs and climate skills and profitability. So, there's business case point number 1. Along the same lines, I read a study recently that said 82% of companies are investing in research and development for more sustainable products and services. So I'm going to say that again because I kind of rushed through it. 82% of companies are investing in sustainable products and services and the research and development to support that case. And for me, especially in these times, as a lot of things are changing around us quickly, that signals that companies are planning so well beyond the next couple of years. And it doesn't necessarily matter who's in White House or who's in Parliament. They know that their profitability, their longevity, their success is tied to climate solutions, and they need to figure out what those are for their line of business. And the people who have those skills, who have that experience and that network to bring those solutions to bear are going to be so essential to their future. Now, that's the really good news. Some trends that make me feel a little concerned and keep me up at night are that not a lot of public goals from companies are tied to upskilling or reskilling or supporting workers to grow in these skills and to adopt more sustainable practices as part of their regular job. Similarly, over half of the world's largest companies have net zero goals, but the truth is that they don't have the workers to help them achieve those goals and realize the benefits of achieving these goals, including financial benefits and environmental benefits. So I think for me, the business case is very clear for green skills and green jobs. Companies, if you're a job seeker, you have a place in this movement. We need those skills, and we are working hard to make companies understand that they need these skills. And if you are in the position to hire a team, you want to make that business case to your boss that you need these skills because your future profitability and longevity and success in your company is dependent on people delivering those solutions to you. So those are the pros and cons. That's my kind of reality dose of the day.
Amazing.
I'll add on to that reality dose, and then I'll talk about some positives. So ending on a positive note, but LinkedIn has done a lot of research because of the fact that we have about 1 billion members of that platform across the world. And so we have just a lot of rich data to go off of to identify trends in the job market, identify what types of skills are being hired for, what types of roles are being hired for. And our data science team has found that by 2050, which sounds far off, not too far away, by that point, only 50% of the great jobs that are on the market will have talent that's needed with the great skills that are necessary for those jobs to get hired. So that there's a growing gap, but the good news is that those jobs are in consuming demand, right? So if you are still bringing forward having skills, this is great news for you because that means that you have economic opportunity in the near and in the distant future. So a few more positive ones that I'm going to take out my little handy later in the notebook here because I don't want to get these wrong. So I wanted to share a few stats from the LinkedIn Green Skills Report that came out last year. Or we are going to be launching our new Green Skills Report in 2025 on the end of weeks. And the way you can find it is just like LinkedIn report. So the first stat here is that talent with green skills see 55 % higher hiring rate than the overall course in that. And that's right now. That's as of 2024. And we're seeing those trends are only from. The second one, and this is kind of more tying back directly to the actual business case for sustainability. LinkedIn facilitates your hire somebody who has budget and purchasing power on LinkedIn are 67% more likely to have climate change as a personal factor in business and purchasing these foods. That's huge because that means that if somebody is a decision maker, a supplier at the Hawkins sustainability supplier that does it, all else equal, they're 67% more likely to choose a more sustainable supplier. So that means if you work at a sustainable company, you yourself own a sustainable company or a brand, you're that much more likely to get the business. And then the final one that I'll share is brands that talk about in any way, shape, or form has fits to their business model. They attract 6 times more decision makers on LinkedIn than brands that do not.
Wow, those are incredible stats. And I think it's so important, like you said, to communicate the economic case for these things, especially when you are a job seeker. And I think it's something that is a little elusive though. Like I think unless, I've talked to other job seekers and it's like, well, I'm not an economist. I don't really know how to like do projections on like where I could be looking or how I necessarily demonstrate those skills. So what do you guys recommend for job seekers on how they can utilize the business case for green jobs in their job search?
Okay, so first thing I'll say, okay, this is not I tried to okay. The first thing I'll say is when you look at a lot of green skills trends or skills reports, you'll see that a lot of the skills that are in demand are very, I don't know about you all, I'm not a technical person. Economics is far from time to day. And the folks that I work with on a daily basis are not environmental engineers, they're not electricians, they're not teachers or we have a lot of soft skills. Not to say that you all don't, fall into the same skill range that I do, but I just want to acknowledge that those reports out there are probably not heartening for a lot of people because they require a very specific background and vocation. So that being said, one of the highest skills that was upward movement is sustainable procurement. And what that basically means is addresses scope 3 emissions, which if you're not too familiar with how emissions are calculated at companies, scope 1 and 2 are more of our direct emissions based on how it operates, its physical presence in different areas. Scope 3 comes down to the types of suppliers that you work with and where you are like. So if we're purchasing from a supplier that is not sustainable based on standards, your scope 3 emissions, and sustainable procurement professionals work to reduce that number and reduce the carbon or the water footprint of those decisions when it comes to purchasing. So that's just one of the skills that I would say you can focus on. Let's say you're looking for a green job these days. I will also just quickly share a few industries if we have time.
Yeah.
Okay, so a few industries that are really growing within green skills, just green economy overall, are, let's see, utilities, which is no surprise, right? Energy calls to that. Construction and manufacturing. But again, a lot of us here have not have technical skills that are required to go into those fields. But finally, technology and media are growing significantly. So especially with the growth of AI, which there are pros and cons to that, but I think the reality is that AI is here to stay. And if you want to keep seeing a greener future, you have to get more involved into AI to make sure that it's evolving the more water efficient way and a more carbon efficient way. And so those are a lot of industries that, let's say you're looking for a green job, fresh out of school, or you'll pivot or look career, these are industries.
And also shout out to the pros and cons of AI session later today, which is great because it follows the trends. Anyways, off to you.
Love it. Well, I was thinking about this question and thinking about the job seeker and what really tangible tips I can share from my experience working with Climate Corps and degrees. And 3 really rise to the top for me, especially in the lens of building the business case for sustainability as an applicant. So the first, I think, is to point to the data, leverage data. So point to studies as you're crafting your application materials and your interview preparation to continue to make the case for sustainability in your materials. So a recent study by Harvard Business School said that companies who marketed sustainable products saw outperformed their peers by 13%. That directly ties the business case to climate jobs and shows that you really understand the space and really understand what the opportunities are, especially for that company, and you can frame it in their specific world and lens even better. So leverage the data that's out there. Also invest in yourself and the skills that you have in your repertoire. You can go to school, get really directly accompanying degrees to sustainability, but the sustainability field is changing quickly. I was just sharing an anecdote earlier today. I spoke with an alum of ours about a year ago. She has a really cool corporate sustainability job. She got her master's in sustainability from Columbia. She did our program, Climate Corps, and 5 years out of school, she feels like some of her skills are outdated. It's moving very quickly, and you need to continue to invest. So there are lots of wonderful bootcamp programs out there. But then there's also the Degrees podcast, if you need some really applicable, it's a very EDF podcast. It's inspiring, but it's also very practical and pragmatic. You can also join our Corporate Climate Action Essentials e-learning course, which launched this week. And it pulls a lot of the best of the Climate Corps training and a lot of the best materials from our Net Zero Action Accelerator. And it's free, open source, e-learning, asynchronous course you can take today. And you can get a certificate from EDF. So those are, and of course, the LinkedIn platform, so much great content on there. Join the Work on Climate community and find your peers there that you really want to work with and learn from. So really invest in your own skills and showcase that on your resume, because that hiring manager is going to see that you are investing in yourself, and they're going to know that you're ready to hit the ground running. And then finally, I would propose that you propose solutions to that in your interview. So go to EDF's Net Zero Action Accelerator, find case studies of companies or maybe peers of the company you're applying to, and point to the solutions that they've already adopted, that are implementing, and prove that you are ready to do the same for them and you know what those challenges are.
Wow, what a robust set of information and skill sets. And I was just gonna say, you know, there's so much data to prove that folks either wanting to enter the sustainability field or already in a workplace that maybe isn't sustainability oriented want these jobs, want to be in these workplaces, but they don't exactly know how to navigate it. So I love that you all demystified that in this session and gave folks a roadmap and some tools, and a tool that we're planning on offering. And actually, you're seeing to the right of us, kind of an example of it as the beginning of it, is what we're calling Treehouse, which is going to be our resource and educational platform that we'll be launching in the next few weeks. And basically, the goal of Treehouse is we're going to have guides for different sectors. So blue economy, fashion, and actually a lot of the sessions you see today are going to be featured in these guides. And the idea is, I realize that if you go online and it says, I want a job in X industry, a lot of the guides are vague or it gives very high level, top level advice. So we decided we're going to take matters in our own hands at Green Jobs Board and actually build out these guides on Treehouse, where you can click on it, learn what types of degrees, what types of skill sets you can access. We plan to feature resources from EDF and LinkedIn on those guides as well. So definitely check out Treehouse. We're going to have these little graphic postcards that you all can take with you that are kind of examples of what those industry specific guides are going to look like. And yeah, so we'll also be a resource for you all on how you can make the business case for green jobs as well. To wrap it up here, it's very clear that there is a business case for green jobs. We just need to start communicating it, advocating for it inside and outside of the workplace, and making that known. Thank you so much to the team at EDF for making this possible, and make sure to check out the Degrees podcast and their other resources online. Thank you guys so much.